friends. We have a special guest here today. He's going to talk about soil health, and I'll let him introduce himself.
My name is Matt Havens. I'm a soil scientist with the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS. And I've been a soil scientist for over 30 years, and I'm just glad to be out here with Russ today.
It's nice to have people that are fired up about soil health and sharing the knowledge and how we can increase our yields as farmers without having to put tremendous inputs into the farm. And Matt is going to show us what we can look for in the soil health aspect of just being a farmer. We don't have to be soil scientists, do we, Matt?
No, if you just look for some key things, some indicators for soil health, those are really what you need. You don't have to be an expert.
Right. So Matt's going to help us farmers. He's going to talk to us in layman terms. How's that sound?
I'll do my best.
Okay. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Well, one of the first things that we want to look for is structure of the soil. See, the soil is there's mineral part of the soil, the sand, silt, and clay. Sand is the largest particles. You can see them, you can touch them, you could feel them. Clay is the smallest. You need a microscope to see that. And silt is in between. Think of like sand is like a golf ball, clay is like a BB, and silt would be like a marble. But they're not perfectly round. They're all jagged. The clay particles are flat. And they kind of just don't float around in soil by themselves. They stick together. Some of that's electrical charges, but also a lot of that is from the natural glues that all the microbes make. And I say microbes, that's all the tiny little organisms that we can't see. Bacteria, fungi, nematodes, arthropods, all of those things. And then all the roots and the root hairs. There's an awesome environment right on the edge of the roots called the rhizosphere, where all these the roots and these soil critters interact, and these soil microbes actually release nutrients for the plant. It's a pretty neat thing. So we talk about soils and soil health. We also have to remember that the microbes and the root interactions is really huge in this whole system.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what's.
All right. Well, we've peeled back some of the grasses and legumes here, and we can see these little structures here. See, this is like a macro aggregate, we would say. It's sand, silt, and clay held together by
the glues from the microbes.
The glues from the microbes, all right?
And would that include some of the exudates from the plants?
Yep, the plant exudates and the biotic glues, put those together. And then if we even look, the tiniest little pieces, those are like micro aggregates. And within those, there's water, there's air, there's the food for the microbes, which is carbon.
Now what would happen if we had like a 3-inch rainfall on those, Matt? Would they break apart and go away in our water?
Well, in this
runoff, or
in this situation, no. If we have really healthy soils and have good, strong aggregates, what we're getting here, those biotic glues, and even there's something called the fungi in the soil. They have like a filament. Think of it as like rebar in the soil, and that can actually hold these particles together. So if we have a healthy soil, it gets a 3-inch rain, those soil particles are going to hold together. And if we look here where we are, this soil surface is armored with the vegetation, all right, that is going to lessen the impact of the raindrop itself.
Yeah.
So the plants, the soil working together will help this healthy soil like this take a 3-inch rain, soak it in like a sponge, and storing that for later on.
Store it for the dry periods.
For the dry periods
yes.
of the year.
So we won't suffer the summertime slump or the summertime droughts that we normally talk about.
Right, it's much less likely if we have a healthy soil, right, and we have a good canopy here, right? If we have bare soil temperatures skyrocket, right? They're really high temperatures. The microbes work faster, they deplete the organic matter, and it's not a good situation. It's better to have a cover like this.
Yeah, we need to maintain cover. That's very important and key to soil health.
Right.
Well, is there anything that we can look at underneath the surface of the soil by digging? Can we?
Yeah, we can open it up. Well, we should. Did we look here and see this? This is a nice big hole that was created by an earthworm, and those are great for taking in water, especially when you have a big rainfall. So if we have a lot of earthworms here,
Natural aeration?
natural aeration.
Yeah.
Right. The large pores hold the air so the water just flows through.
Because a lot of times we don't realize it or don't think of it, the soil actually needs oxygen too.
It does, and it needs oxygen because of the roots and all those critters I was talking about, all those, that microbial population. They're just like us. They need food, they need water, they need air, they need a place to live. So if we have a healthy soil, we have a mixture of soil pore sizes, the spaces, and that allows these microbes to have air to breathe in those large pores that hold air, and then there's also water available.
So we're creating a macro environment.
Yes, we are. We're creating the right environment for these by having healthy soils and managing them correctly.
And it actually helps us with our overall production too.
Yeah, this is key. The soil is key right here. See all this vegetation? These are like solar panels. They're taking sun energy and they're bringing it down into their roots, storing it in the plant. The plant actually leaks out some of those carbohydrates and sugars into the soil so that these microbes have some food. They attract microbes. Those microbes are associated with the plant root, and then the microbes release the nutrients that the plant needs. So it's a kind of a neat partnership.
Partnerships.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us call it the symbiotic relationships.
Right. But layman's term, we'd say partnership.
Partnerships.
Okay.
Yep. Or working together.
Yes.
We're working together.
Yep. So do you want to open this up and dig a hole?
Yeah,
and
let's see
what
what we can find. Matt's got a 20-pound shovel. Well, it's quite the root system in there,
right?
Matt.
And that's one good thing. If it comes out in a big solid disc like this, you know that the roots are holding it together.
Well, you could hear the roots pulling. You can see
Right.
a root here. It looks almost, I don't know, maybe that's a dandelion.
Yeah.
They got the taproot to get down in deep to bring some of those nutrients up to these shallower rooted plants.
Look, so we've already see a couple earthworms here, just in this little bit that we've brought up. We see the soil itself looking kind of like some people say cottage cheese in a way, that chunky, clumpy. All these are aggregates, macro aggregates. Here's another earthworm here that we see.
If we smell the soil, what should it smell like?
It should smell sweet, you know, that kind of earthy smell we're used to when we have maybe we till our garden up or something like that. And that's some of the microbes release something called geosmin. That gives
what
it
was that
smell.
again?
Geosmin or geosmin. Yeah.
Okay.
They release that, and that gives it that nice smell. If
Now
it smells sour or chemically or something, then that's not a good sign.
Okay. Now I've heard the terminology whenever it's releasing that's kind of the smell of death for microbes. Is that the smell from them dying, or?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure
I've
I
heard
know.
that,
but
you know, whenever you go out and plow a field, that I've heard it called the smell of death.
Well, it probably should be that, because really tilling the soil, it's like in your wood stove when you open up the draft, right? You let all that oxygen in, and then all the microbes go crazy. I mean, in another sense, it's like if a bulldozer came and knocked your house down, there'd be a flurry of activity, right? A lot of energy consumed right there. And the same way with the soil, when you plow it, all that oxygen gets in. You're fluffing it up temporarily. All that oxygen goes into the soil. And what happens is microbes go crazy. They start eating a lot, and what they eat is carbon. Right? Then a third of that carbon gets lost to the atmosphere just by their respiration.
Okay.
And so when we plow a lot, we're actually decreasing the organic matter in the soil
In the form of carbon.
and that organic matter is key to driving this whole system here.
Right.
This plant, soil, and animal interaction, right? Because we have three things going on here, right? We have the animals, we have the plants, we have the soil, and we have in part of the soil, that organic matter, we have the microbes, right? Organic matter in soil, we have the living stuff, right? These roots here that we have, the living roots. So we have the living part. Then we have the dead part, which is the dying, decayed roots.
Is that fungus on that rock?
You know,
Looks like we may have some fungus.
it could be.
And that fungus could possibly releasing some nutrients. Right?
Yes, it does. It's
I've heard that where the fungus actually will attach to rocks and release some of the nutrients in those rocks.
It will do that, and then it'll transport it to the plant.
Right. In our symbiotic
In our partnership, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing, and these fungal networks. It's like, let's say you had spaghetti, in a sense.
Mhm.
These fungal networks will hook one root system to another because they're all throughout the soil. So in this situation where we have a legume and a grass, those root systems will be interconnected. All right, and then where the grasses might make more phosphorus available because of their microbial populations and what they're doing in the soil, the fungi can transport that over to the legume. The legume has more nitrogen because it's nitrogen fixing. It can transport that over to the grass. So that's the neat thing of having a diverse population in our canopy.
And working in partnerships.
Working in partnerships.
Right.
And
making things productive so us as farmers can lessen our inputs and actually heal the land and be very productive.
Right. We need to look at the whole thing, the soil, plants, animals all together, partnership.
Well, I think that was a very good educational take on soil health, and I'd really like to thank Matt again.
You're welcome, Russ, anytime.
And hopefully my subscribers found this helpful, and if you would, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell. Have a good one.
See ya.